Peter Doocy, the Fox News reporter known for asking difficult questions, has been going through a private nightmare. Speculations about his wife, Hillary Vaughn's, sad diagnosis have spread like wildfire, and then there are even more surprising speculations that he is leaving the network. Is he really saying goodbye to everything? The truth is much more convoluted and disturbing than anyone thought. There have been scary stories about Peter Doocy's wife, Hillary Vaughn, all over the internet for months. These stories show a young family in trouble, fighting a secret health problem that no one else knows about. There are a lot of rumors that say Hillary has been sick with a dangerous ailment that hasn't been named. There aren't many details, but the message is clear. Something is very wrong. The scariest of these claims say that Hillary has been fighting cancer. These tales point to a lengthy and hard fight that has put the couple's strength and resilience to the test. Some tales go so far as to say that Hillary had major surgery in April 2022, which is a very scary detail. It's awful to think about a young mother going through anything like this, and fans and watchers are really worried about the family's health. But the more people attempted to learn, the more complicated the story became. There were also other findings that came out that went against the cancer story. Some sources say that Hillary Vaughn is absolutely healthy and doesn't have any major health problems at all. This caused a lot of misunderstanding. How could two stories that are absolutely different be going around at the same time? Was she sick or not? Some blogs couldn't even get her name right, calling Peter's wife Amanda, Helen, or Rachel. This made the mystery even deeper, adding to the confusion that was already there. Everyone was confused about what was really going on behind closed doors because of the conflicting facts. Was the Doocy family hiding a serious secret, or was this just a big mistake? It turns out that the answer is a little of both. It's true that the Doocy family got a bad diagnosis, but everyone has been staring at the wrong guy. You can think you know the truth, but you should wait until you hear what truly happened. People were talking about Peter Doocy and Hillary Vaughn's private problems, but they were quietly constructing a life together that they kept secret from the public. At work, where they spent much of their time, their love story began. Both are very good journalists at Fox News. Peter joined the network in 2009, soon after he graduated from college. Hillary joined the Fox business desk in 2016. She had been in the second class of the Fox News Junior Reporter program, where she was based in Manchester, New Hampshire to get real-world reporting experience. They worked together for years, covering the biggest news stories in the country, but no one knew they were a relationship. They didn't tell anyone in the public about their connection. There was a romance there in front of everyone. When Peter said they were getting married in 2020, it sent shockwaves through the Fox News offices. People were shocked. They had worked with them for years and had no idea they were dating. Their wedding was just as private and personal as their romance. In April 2021, they got married at the Montage Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina, which is also where Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin got married. It was a wonderful event. They had intended to get married in January, but the epidemic made them change their plans. Because of the delay, the event was even smaller and more personal. They didn't want a big media event, they just wanted to enjoy their wonderful day with 18 of their closest family and friends. Steve Doocy, Peter's father, was his best man. Photos from the outdoor celebration show Peter looking great in a navy blue tuxedo and Hillary looking beautiful in a long-sleeved wedding dress with delicate flower patterns. Hillary posted a picture of them cutting their cake on Instagram with the message, "Life with you takes the cake." Steve Doocy also posted pictures on his own account with the message, "Welcome to the Doocy family, Hillary Vaughn. We're very delighted for both of you." The couple's strong need for seclusion made it hard for anybody to find out about them. Because there wasn't much information about their personal lives, people might gossip about them online. Without a public story from the couple to dispute the false reports about a health problem, they were able to take root and proliferate. Their secret love story, while was lovely, unwittingly set the stage for false information to spread. But soon, in the best way possible, the truth about their family life would be known by everyone. Peter and Hillary's journey from being a hidden couple to having a growing family has been equally as amazing as their secretive romance. They decided to tell their family on live TV that they were pregnant for the first time in a way that felt right to them. In September 2022, they were on Fox and Friends to talk about a new cookbook by Peter's parents, Steve and Kathy. Steve said that the cuisine is fantastic if you're truly hungry while he was talking about the recipes. Peter then joined in, pointing to his wife and stating, "Hillary is always hungry," with a smile. Hillary told everyone the big news. "That's because I'm eating for 2 people." The screen suddenly showed a picture of a sonogram, and the studio went crazy with joy. On February 1, 2023, they had their first child, a beautiful baby girl named Bridget Blake Doocy. She was 21 inches long and weighed 8 pounds, 1 ounce. Hillary's path to becoming a mother was everything from normal. Her water broke on the way to work on Capitol Hill, which shows how dedicated she is to her job. Later on, she laughed about it, saying she knew where all the senators' offices were because they used to be doctors. But she was lucky that she didn't have to call any of them to get the baby. Peter was getting advice from the most powerful guy in the world on how to be a good father. He approached President Joe Biden for advice on being a new dad at a holiday celebration at the White House. The president, who was moved by the question, gave him good counsel that was simple yet deep. Keep her close. Their family grew again a little more than 2 years later. On April 16, 2025, their son George Jack Doocy was born. This was also their wedding anniversary. Hillary was able to keep up with her profession and prepare for motherhood right up until the last minute. She was on Capitol Hill Live reporting on tax day just hours before George was born. She went directly from reporting on TV to a regular doctor's appointment, where her OB told her that the baby was ready to come out. Hillary said jokingly that maybe he was weary of hearing her talk about taxes. "I don't hold it against him." The family of 4 now lives in a gorgeous 5-bedroom home in Fairfax, Virginia. They bought it in 2023 for $1.68 million. The setting is a wonderful 40-minute drive from the White House, where Peter works as one of the most well-known reporters in the country. Their real family life isn't full of sickness and struggle, it's full of amazing strength. Hillary Vaughn, who some people said was sick and unable to work, was actually a strong lady. She was a determined journalist who reported on American politics from the heart of the country just hours before giving birth to both of her children. The true story is how strong she is, which got lost in a flood of false tales. But how did her husband get so much attention from the public in the first place? He comes from a family of Fox News reporters and is one of the most well-known and outspoken journalists in Washington, D.C. Steve Doocy, who has been the co-host of the renowned morning show Fox and Friends for a long time, is his father. Peter grew up in the world of television news, but his parents wanted him to go into business or law instead. But the call of journalism was too powerful. He got a job with Fox News right after graduating from Villanova University in 2009 with a degree in political science. His father had become a big celebrity on that network. He was already working for the network as a reporter for a show called PeleaStare.net when he was in college. His father coached him from the start, much like he did with Peter's middle school baseball team years before. Steve even offered to coach the squad so that Peter, who was on a very competitive team, could play. Steve would watch every report Peter made in the early days of his career, holding his breath for the whole 2 minutes because he was so scared his son would mess up on live TV. After that, Peter would phone Steve and ask for an honest appraisal. Steve would give him advice and tell him about the mistakes he had made so that Peter could prevent them. Peter immediately made a name for himself. He was more than just Steve Doocy's son. He was a smart and determined reporter who wasn't afraid to ask the hard questions. He worked in New York and Chicago before moving to Washington, D.C. in the year 2010. He wrote on some of the greatest news topics in the country, like the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, the bombing at the Boston Marathon, and the search for 2 escaped prisoners in Dannemora, New York. He got a huge exclusive in 2014. The first time Robert O'Neill, the Navy SEAL who says he shot and killed Osama bin Laden, has been on TV. At the time, The Man Who Killed Osama bin Laden was the most popular documentary in Fox News history. But his star really started to grow when he became a White House correspondent in 2021. During White House press briefings, he became notorious for his dogged and frequently contentious style of questioning. His daily talks with Press Secretary Jen Psaki and eventually Karine Jean-Pierre were must-see TV. These verbal fights regularly went viral, with tense but occasionally amusing exchanges about the government's policies. He never gave up, which led to a lot of great memories. In January 2022, President Joe Biden was recorded on a hot mic calling him a stupid son of a b when Peter yelled a question about inflation. Later, the president contacted Peter to talk things over, which demonstrated how close they were. Doocy's stay at the White House has been so busy that even nature seems to have noticed. A bird swooped down, landed on his head, and then dive-bombed him before flying away during a live report from the White House lawn. People talk about him all the time since he is in the news so often. He is a key player in the daily drama of American politics, which is why people are so interested in his personal life. His job as a reporter who never backs down makes him a great target for rumors because people are continually watching his life, both in public and in private. This leads us to the last and most perplexing rumor of them. Hillary Vaughn did not have the true cancer horror that shook the Doocy family. Kathy Garrity, Peter's mother and the wife of Fox News anchor Steve Doocy, owned it. Her trip was a harrowing ordeal that started out as normal as possible. Kathy and Steve went to the eye doctor in 2015 for a normal checkup to acquire fresh prescriptions for sunglasses. The doctor saw something strange during the checkup, a little freckle on the back of Kathy's eye. He told her not to worry about it, but he wanted her to come back in a few months for a checkup. For safety's sake. The attitude shifted right away when they came back for the second test. The doctor saw it right away and realized something was wrong. He quickly sent them to a specialist, who then told them to go to Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia, which is one of the greatest eye hospitals in the country. A huge blizzard was shutting down all of New York, but they didn't care. At 5 a.m, Kathy and I were driving on a snowy highway, feeling scared. Carol Shields, a top eye expert, gave the bad news after a full day of examinations. She glanced at them and remarked, "Kathy, you have cancer in your eyes." The diagnosis was ocular melanoma, a highly rare and fatal type of cancer. At that time, Kathy felt like they couldn't breathe. The worst concern was that the cancer might spread to other regions of her body, such as her liver or lungs. This is common with this form of cancer. Kathy started radiation therapy within a few weeks. The nights were the worst. Kathy couldn't sleep because she was scared, just like everyone else who gets cancer. Her 3 kids were sleeping in the adjacent room of their hotel. What if this medicine doesn't work? She wrote down all of her family's recipes for her kids one night when she couldn't sleep, just in case. That act of love would later make her a best-selling author of cookbooks. But Kathy's story isn't only scary, it has a huge effect. Years later, once she was cancer-free, she and Steve told her tale on TV to promote one of their family cookbooks. A pastor who lived halfway across the country was watching and recognized that Kathy's story sounded just like what his friend Vicky had just been told she had. He called her right away and encouraged her to look for Kathy's tale on the internet. Her doctor had offered her 2 choices for treatment, radiation therapy or enucleation, which involves taking out her whole eye. She was leaning toward taking out the eye to get rid of all the cancer at once. But after hearing that Kathy had beaten the same cancer with radiotherapy, Vicky changed her mind. She chose radiation, and it worked. The tumor got smaller, and she was able to maintain her eye and her sight. Later, the pastor told Steve that he thinks Kathy's narrative saved Vicky's life. Kathy has been cancer-free for more than 5 years now, which is a huge blessing for the whole Doocy family. She is a survivor, but the radiation has left her with a lot of problems. She gives a lot of the money from their cookbooks to research on eye cancer, hoping that one day this terrible disease would be gone. The rumors come from this real-life health situation. The last piece of this complex puzzle is the rumor that Peter Doocy is leaving Fox News. This allegation was typically made together with the bogus statement regarding his wife's health. Making up a dramatic story about how he was leaving his high-profile job to take care of his sick wife. The account of his leaving is also a case of mistaken identity, just as the health rumors. Peter Doocy is not going anywhere, though. His career is actually going better than ever. He became Fox News senior White House correspondent in June 2024. He was also just named the co-host of a new show called The Sunday Briefing. He shares this duty with fellow correspondent Jackie Heinrich. He isn't quitting the network. He is becoming more responsible. So where did the rumor about saying goodbye come from? Steve Doocy, his father, gave it to him. Steve Doocy announced a big shift to his career in May 2025, after more than 25 years as a full-time host on Fox and Friends, where he sat on the renowned curvy couch. He told viewers with tears in his eyes that he was quitting his everyday job at a New York City studio. Fans and co-workers were shocked by the choice. He said it was time for a change because he had been getting up at 3:30 a.m. for his commute for decades. Steve Doocy is not going to retire, though. He and the network have been contemplating this move for a while. He and his wife Kathy moved to Florida, and he now travels to co-host the show 3 days a week. He said that this new job would let him report from places of the U.S. that don't get much network airtime, such as the Carolinas and the Keys. The relocation also lets him do something he hasn't been able to do in years: have breakfast with his family and grandkids. The genuine goodbye story was the big change in the patriarch's career. Donald Trump, the former president, even made a video tribute for his last day on the couch, congratulating him on his new job. The rumor mill took the fact that a well-known Doocy was leaving Fox News and mixed it with the fake story about Hillary's health. They made up a more dramatic but totally false story, blaming the incorrect Doocy for the wrong reasons for leaving. The title's enigma has now been solved. His mother got the bad news, and his father said farewell. People say that the story of Peter Doocy and Hillary Vaughn is a tragedy, but it's not. It's not a story about becoming sick or saying goodbye. Their real tale is one of quiet courage, profound loyalty, and a strong desire to build a private family life in the face of heavy public attention. They are proof of strength, showing that the truth of a happy, healthy, and growing family is what really important, even when rumors spread.